Closed captioning for Education Matters is sponsored by Margaret's Garden Adult Daycare and Will Lou Gray Opportunity School out of West Columbia. Good morning. Yes, this is my actual graduation gown from high school, 1988, Aiken High Hornets. And this is my actual diploma from college, my Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of South Carolina in Columbia. There were a lot of things that I had to do before I was able to receive this diploma. Inside of Education Matters, the pathway to college. Education Matters is next. Hello and welcome inside of Education Matters. My name is Donna Moore Wesby, your host of Education Matters, where learning is living. I'm so excited about today. Yes, I want to say Happy Resurrection Day to all of you who have gotten up this morning and you're excited, you're dressed in your Easter outfits and you've got your Easter baskets and all that kind of good stuff. Today is a great day. It is the celebration that I recognize as the day my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ arose. And I'm so thankful that He is in my life. You are watching Education Matters right here on WRDW Channel 12, the best station in the Central Savannah River area. Of course, we'd like to thank the sponsors of Education Matters. They make it possible for us to be on the air, and we certainly have to give thanks to Mr. John Ray, President of WRDW Channel 12, and all of the other Education Matters sponsors. Howell Printing out of Aiken, South Carolina, your full service printer, also offering graphic design services. Security Federal Bank, there is a Security Federal near you. Will Lou Gray Opportunity School out of West Columbia, South Carolina's premier alternative education school. Wesby's Products and Services, creator of Don's Seasoning Delight, all-purpose seasoning and marinade. Margaret's Garden Adult Daycare, and they are physically located in Aiken, South Carolina, and they are open to serve every client right now. The University of South Carolina in Aiken. We've got one of their very own here in the studio today, leading us in the discussion, the pathway to college. It's going to be a great and informative broadcast. And then finally, Access Chiropractic. There he is. Dr. Blair Bradley is the very fine chiropractor. And we want to say thanks to all of our corporate sponsors. And I want to give shouts out to our personal sponsors, and I actually forgot to acknowledge them last week. I'm so sorry about that. Bill and Joy Bradley of Aiken, South Carolina, Miss Sharon White, Isaac and Betty Rucker, my parents, also of Aiken, and then finally Deacon Henry and Nancy Craig, also of Aiken. If you're interested in becoming a part of our awesome sponsorship family, you will receive those details in today's broadcast, okay? Now moving on to this week's chalkboard reminder. Actually, it is a repeat of a previous broadcast, but I thought it worthy enough to share with you today. Oh my goodness, I'm sitting on a microphone. Okay, here we go. To watch previous segments of Education Matters, please, all you got to do is go to YouTube, all right? They're right there for you. Don't get stressed out. In the search bar, type Education Matters episode 001. Now I tell you to do number 1 because once you click on that little blue icon, all of the previous segments of Education Matters will pull up for you. So then if you just click on that little subscribe button, then you will receive notification to your email account each time a new segment is uploaded. All right? It's an awesome chalkboard reminder, and I sure hope it helps somebody out today. Okay. That sound means it's Word of the Week time inside of Education Matters. Every week inside of this broadcast, we do provide you with a brand new Word of the Week so that we can continue to learn and grow. And here is this week's word: egregious. Egregious. You've heard it before, I'm sure. E-G-R-E-G-I-O-U-S. Egregious is an adjective, and it means outstandingly bad, blatant, or outrageous. And here's this week's sentence. The book contained several egregious errors, which made the editor's job very difficult. I love that word, egregious. There you have it. That's this week's Word of the Week. For a continuous listing of our Words of the Week, just go to my website. There it is, edmatt.com, edmatt.com. Or feel free to write me for story ideas, suggestions. Maybe you want to give me some feedback on the broadcast. There's my email address, donnawesby@aol.com. Moving right along to this week's grammar lesson of the week, and it is a new one. Now, I love this, basic spelling rules, okay? And we've got several, but we're only going to deal with 2 today, okay? Number 1, if the noun, which is person, place, or thing, ends in S, CH, SH, X, or Z, now this is including proper names, then you're going to add ES at the end to make it plural. Here are some examples. Bus becomes buses, fox becomes foxes, church, churches, dish, dishes, and then the last name, Lopez, Lopez's, the Lopez's cars, okay? Moving on to number 2. If the noun ends in a consonant plus Y, then you're going to change the Y to an I. Oh, I don't know if I put an I or not, but that's what I'm supposed to put. Change the Y to I and add ES, okay? Here are some examples. Carry becomes carries, C-A-R-R-I-E-S. Mercy, new mercies I see every day, thank God. Mercies, and then puppy becomes puppies. You get the picture? Those are your grammar lesson tips of the week, and we're going to bring more basic spelling rules later on this month. Okay, I want to now, I think I've covered everything that I need to cover. We are about to go to Charity's Corner. For those of you who missed the past 2 broadcasts, you may not know who Charity is, but she appears on my radio broadcast from time to time. And this is a conceptualization of little Charity, because she has much to say, but she can't hold it in. Take it away.
What's up, God's people? It's me, Charity, with this week's segment of Charity's Corner, because I've got something to say and I can't hold it in. Whatever you do, please do not act up in church. I know, sometimes you just can't help it. Sometimes that little old lady or that little old man gets up and thinks he or she can sing, and you just gotta crack up laughing. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you know what I know, you don't want that look from mama or that one look from grandma. I don't know what it is about that look, but you don't want it, because you know what comes next. They must take these parents to parent school to learn how to do that look. My name is Charity, and it's all in the name of love.
Explore new worlds. Read. Visit literacy.gov.
Welcome back inside of the broadcast. You're watching Education Matters with me, Donna Moore Wesby, where learning is living. Today's broadcast, I sure hope you have your paper and your pencil ready. It is targeted for those who have aspirations of going to college, whether you're in middle school, high school, or even an adult. Our guest here today is loaded with many PowerPoint slides to make sure you get the information you need today as we talk about the pathway to college. And I'm so excited about that. Before we get into that topic, I want to tell you a little bit about Charity's Corner really quickly. I hope you like that. I introduced Charity's Corner a couple of years ago on my radio broadcast, WNRR 1380 AM. And I approached a gentleman, one of my students at Aiken High, who attends Teen Mission. His name is Caleb Lee Master. Well, earlier this week, I told Caleb, and I showed him the airing of Charity, because all he had seen was her in the drawing that he came up with on his own of Charity. And then our production supervisor extraordinary, John, took that and added some animation to it, and now you have little Charity. And when I showed Caleb the segment, the tears were all in my eyes for him to see his work in action. He hadn't seen the previous two broadcasts, so he didn't know it was Charity had come to life. And it was just so awesome to see how God helped this young man's dream come true. So John, you made a high school student very, very proud and happy, and I'm so thankful that Education Matters is a vehicle for dreams to come true. So I had to let you know about that. Well, we're going to get right into our topic, and we have today, I'm trying to hold back some tears here, Dan. You gotta know me. I'm really emotional when it comes to these young people and watching them, you know, develop into themselves and watching their dreams come true. But USC Aiken, the University of South Carolina, is helping to make a lot of dreams come true for not just high school students, but also the non-traditional students. Joining me in the studio is Mr. Dan Robb. He is the Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management at USC Aiken. Welcome inside the broadcast.
Thank you very much, and happy Easter.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It is a great day. We brought in a little spring to kind of remind us, too, of the great season we're in. And I've got my high school diploma here.
Perfect.
Yes, and I showed my college degree a little earlier. So you're going to tell us what we need to do to help people get on the path, the right path to college. But there's some things they have to do at the very beginning, right?
Yeah, I think the most important thing I could recommend is get an early start. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter, as you said, whether you're a returning adult student or a middle schooler, get an early start. Start thinking about what attracts you, what are you looking for in college, mm-hmm. what do you expect to get out of it, what environment would you thrive in?
Right.
And that's different for everyone.
Right, right. And certainly there are some watching us now who may feel as if college is not even for them, or, you know, if they're college material. And we're hoping that today's broadcast addresses some of that, because there are a lot of benefits to going to college.
There are a lot of benefits, and don't let any obstacles stand in your way.
Right.
Whether that be age, or you didn't hit your prime academically. You know, when I hear someone think maybe college is out of their reach, that sort of breaks my heart a little bit, because I think college is within everyone's reach. Right. It's more difficult for some than others. There are more roadblocks than some for others, but college is attainable for pretty much everyone, at least in my mind. And as you said, we're about making dreams, not breaking them.
That's right. That's right. And with the kind of information you have brought to share with us today, I think it's going to open some eyes that it is attainable. Now, reality is there are a lot of steps that one must do. And going back to what you said a moment ago, that's why starting so early is very paramount, and it can help make that process a little bit smoother.
Absolutely. You know, the things you want to think about are visiting places that you're interested in, starting with a really wide list That could be regional, could be because they have an area of interest of study that you might want to pursue. It might be because that best suits your budget, but really starting with a fairly wide net of college options. Visiting, so much so is comfort level. Some people will go to a very large campus and feel right at home. Other people will go and feel this is it
like
makes me nervous.
Fish in a big old ocean.
Right, and as I said, everyone has kind of their level of comfort, so that's where that visit is important. You could say, I want to study history. Well, you could study history anywhere you want, but you can only thrive in a place that fits you well.
Right, right.
So one of the things we talk about a lot at USC Aiken is, when you come and visit, we want you to love it. But we recognize that everyone doesn't love every college or university they visit.
Or everything about that college
everything
or university.
About it.
Right.
But if you go there and you say, this is great, I found the place I love, that's a great day. But I also believe if you visit a college and say, you know what, that wasn't exactly what I hoped it would be, that's still a good use of your time.
Right.
You can say, that's not my place, let me try the next one. That's the advantage of keeping that net wide with the visits.
You've brought with you today several slides to help us on a flow to cover as much as possible. Let's start with number 1.
Absolutely. So on a pre-admission, you want to think about building that list, as we talked about, right? You want to talk about testing. No one likes to talk about that, but you want to be prepared because it is part of the college process.
Okay. And testing, you're talking specifically the SAT and the ACT?
For the most part, that's what everyone is looking for. Kind of the nice thing, too, is there's something called the PSAT, the preliminary SAT, where you could do that a little bit earlier. That helps for 2 reasons. One, a lot of the merit scholarships for high school students are based off the PSAT, but it's also a wonderful preparation for the SAT, which is really the primary admissions entrance exam really around the nation.
Now, for the PSAT, that's typically given when a child is in middle school, correct? Or is it also
It's mostly freshman, sophomore year in high school.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that's kind of a nice entree into the junior and senior year where things get very intense in the process.
Okay.
But I don't want to jump to junior and senior year quite yet.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing you want to do is make sure you take a challenging array of courses. Some students, particularly in high school, will say, I want to do really well, so I'm not going to stretch myself. That's a mistake. We always want to encourage people, shoot for the stars. We'd always rather see someone in AP, advanced placement courses, rather than general high school courses, because that says to us the student is motivated and wants to excel.
And I want to pause here and stay on this topic for a little moment, because for students, the baby boomers and those who are my age, 45 or so, they may not realize that the college prep back in those days was your top level courses. Right. But it's no longer the case. And so parents, if you have children and you're doing those individual graduation plans and your child is continuously in a college prep type course, what Mr. Robb here is admonishing you to do is to take a look at that. Try to enroll in some more challenging courses, because that's going to help in terms of some admission to certain colleges.
Absolutely, and it sends a message. It says, I'm willing to be challenged, I'm going to try hard. I'd personally rather see a B in a really tough course than an A in a general course.
Okay, all right. So stand on that for just a moment. If a parent is hearing this message today and feels as if in conversations with their child that they want to try or attempt to get into those, I can't believe I'm using this word, rigorous courses. That's not one of my favorite words, okay? What should they do?
I think that's such an individual decision that every parent and their student has to decide. But you should talk with your high school guidance counselor. Make sure that they, in cooperation with you and the student, feel that this course is a good rigor.
Okay.
All courses can be rigorous to various people. You want to go to your challenge level and stretch yourself a little bit, and that's going to be different for me than it might be for you, than it might be for folks in the audience.
Right.
So we want to just go to that level of rigor and then try a little bit harder. That level of rigor will vary, though.
And we certainly don't want to set a child up for failure. So like you said, that is a very personal decision.
Very important.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to suggest that everyone go out and take AP Calculus. That could be a backbreaker for a lot of people, and we don't want that if you're not ready for it.
Right.
For others, that's the natural progression. They feel great about that. So it really is about, you know, communication with the parent, the student, and the high school counselor and teachers there.
Okay, very good.
As we move on, the testing we talked about, I want to jump back quickly to preparation. This is not one of those things you wing. These are not, they're important tests, but they're not necessarily intuitive.
Okay.
It's not something you can walk into not having prepared. So make sure, you know, the students, the families prepare for this. It does carry a lot of weight. You know, I know we don't, none of us like talking about standardized testing all the time. The reality is, the way the world is now, that's an important entrance exam for any level of college. So preparing for the exam, either yourself, in your high school, privately, there are numbers of services out there, but be ready for the test. It can be jarring.
Right,
You want to walk in confident.
And for those families watching today, if you're a little bit unfamiliar with these tests, again, your guidance counselors, middle school and high school guidance counselors are a tremendous resource for you. But also, isn't there a difference if a child has aspirations of going to a 2-year college, which is an extremely viable option for students these days? Do they necessarily have to take the SAT or the ACT?
Not necessarily. Many of the 2-year schools and community colleges will go solely based off high school grades. But that, again, varies around the region. So you want to, as you suggested, check in with the college, their websites. Most of them are very well done and very informative to check out the requirements. That's certainly the other thing. Don't prepare for every college as if it's one college. You really want to know, part of that visit is finding out not what's comfortable only for you, but what does that college look for.
Okay.
So very important.
How early is too early? Well, I don't know if I should ask it that way. When should you start making visits?
This is great. One of the things we love at USC Aiken is we'll have a junior or a senior in high school bring his little brother or sister who's in middle school. And we love that, not because we think that the middle schooler gets so much out of the visit, but it's a nice exposure and it gets them thinking about college and, hey, my brother is going, I should be thinking about this at some point. And just, you know, we want to get in their head at that point. So I would start thinking about it and doing college encouragement kinds of things. If I'm a parent working with a middle schooler, start talking about it. Exposing them to the thought about it.
Yes.
But kick into high gear, I think, you know, end of your sophomore year, as you move into your junior year, you know, start those visits. Start really talking with your high school counselors, your parents, the schools that you're thinking about.
Okay.
So you're right, it's never too early, but certainly it gets a little bit more intense as you move through your high school years.
That's right, that's right. Oh, very good. Carry
Absolutely. This is going to be a good one. Check your email all the time. It's one of the preparation things. You get a lot of, I don't want to say junk. We don't like to say call it college mail junk.
We get junk mail.
When I send email, I think it's biblical in proportion.
Okay.
Because we do think we're sharing great information. Do check your email.
Oh, I was talking about the college. I was talking about other stuff. Okay, I'm with you now.
Do check your email. Other thing, think about finances. Very important. I know we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but to use the word of the day, you don't want to make an egregious mistake.
Good job.
Got the bell on that. By not thinking about financing.
Yes.
So that shouldn't be your one and only deciding factor, but you want to start thinking about how much can my family put toward this? Am I going to work? How much can I put toward it?
Right.
What scholarship opportunities are out there, both from the university and privately? And in the end, how much am I willing to invest in a college education?
That's right. That's the key word, is investment. And I think some students, your traditional students as well as your non-traditional students, may already count themselves out in looking at their current financial situation, but we must look at college, whether it's 2-year or 4-year, as an investment. And there are actually some statistical data that shows the benefits from a financial standpoint of those who go on to earn a college degree versus those who stop at a high school diploma.
Absolutely. One of my favorite stories, because there's a lot of angst about taking college student loans, there's a lot of bad press about it. And I was at a conference last year and I thought this was the best story I heard. We as Americans have very little trouble going into $20,000 or $30,000 debt over a car that depreciates the moment you drive off the lot, right? But we're nervous about taking a $5,000 or $10,000 loan for a college education that continues to appreciate over time. So I know that it's always a stretch and you should always think about borrowing, but this is an appreciating asset, not a depreciating asset.
Well, and you've also helped me to think of another good point, and that is the sooner we expose our children to the possibility of college, then the sooner the entire family can start planning. And not just planning financially, but planning academically. If a child does the best he or she can to make those good grades, to have a good reputation, to have good behavior, then you are setting yourself up for lots of scholarships and grants that will help totally or partially pay for your education.
You never want to look in the rearview mirror and say, gosh, I would have, I wish I would have.
Right.
Oh, if I only knew about. You know, so when you said when should you do things, there are some things you could be doing in the 8th grade.
That's right.
You know, start looking. USC Aiken's financial aid website, for instance, has a whole engine on external scholarships. Millions and millions of dollars, and I kid you not, millions and millions of dollars go unclaimed every year because students didn't apply for a scholarship or they didn't file their financial aid FAFSA form.
Right.
So that's great planning, you know, thinking about all of those things well in advance. So when you get to that crush of senior year, it should only be about, I applied, I got accepted, here's where I want to go.
Okay, very good.
So what do colleges look for, I think is sort of another, we want to demystify that because I don't think that it's particularly troubling or that anyone should be surprised. So there's numbers of standard things that colleges look for. We talked about the SAT or ACT exam. That's pretty standard, particularly for 4-year colleges. They're going to look heavily at high school grades, you know, and we talked about that a little bit more as well. Letters of recommendation for many colleges. This is the importance of knowing your high school teachers and guidance counselors so that they can write a well-informed and supportive recommendation. When I was reading a lot, I used to do graduate school admissions, and I would always tell students, and I think it applies at any level, 99% of the letters of recommendation, I could substitute your name for my name, and they'd be the same recommendation. So when you work with your recommender to make sure they know what school activities are you in, what church groups do you belong to, what community service have you done, what do you excel in, all of a sudden, your recommendation is much better than mine.
That's right. It's more
and that
personal.
stands out.
Yes.
Because the counselors say, oh yeah, that another recommendation, oh yeah, John is a good student, John does well.
That's right.
Everyone can write that, but when you start knowing your recommenders, that can make a huge difference in the college admissions process.
That's exactly right, and I'm going to let you pick up right after we hear from our sponsors. Don't make the mistake of waiting till your senior year to get to know your counselors. This is another step you can take well in advance before heading to college. You're inside of Education Matters. We'll be right back.
Why go to college anywhere else? For the past 4 years, U.S. News & World Report has named University of South Carolina Aiken the #1 top public comprehensive college in the South. You can attend one of the best universities in the nation with more than 49 majors in academic programs, nationally ranked athletics, and great student life. With small classes, the faculty and staff are focused on your success. USC Aiken, the university focused on you.
Margaret's Garden Adult Daycare is coming soon to serve the community of Aiken. We are dedicated to enhancing the emotional, mental, and physical well-being of our clients, allowing seniors to remain in the community as long as possible. A daily fitness plan, Games, weekly outings, fine dining, and discussion groups are just a few of the services we offer to keep your loved one active and engaged. Margaret's Garden. We meet you where you are. The Will Gray Opportunity School has been serving the beautiful Midlands of South Carolina since 1921. Our mission has evolved over the years, and we now specialize in helping young people move past their obstacles in order to achieve success. We give students opportunities to lead, to develop social skills, to become active in their communities, and to taste success. Don't settle for less than the absolute best for your life. Contact us today to take the next step in your journey toward success.
I lead a busy life, but I still have to make sure my family eats right. And everybody loves Dawn's Seasoning Delight. I use Dawn's on meats and vegetables. It's healthy, tastes great, and it's simple to use. It's like having a chef in a bottle.
My seasoning is available at Kroger, Bilo, Food Line, Roots, and Harvest. Look for it on display in the meat department. Also visit seasoningdelight.com for information and recipes. Dawn's Seasoning Delight. It's so good.
Weekends are for resting, relaxing, and recharging your batteries. A good weekend can also give you the time to catch up on business you couldn't get to during the week. For Security Federal Bank customers, that means banking business. What does 7-day banking mean to your banker? More importantly, what does it mean to you? At Security Federal Bank, being open 7 days a week means just that. That's why our Southside branch on Whiskey Road in front of Target is open for business every day, even Saturday and Sunday. We're proud to be the only bank to be open 7 days a week in Aiken County. If we were you, we'd bank with us.
If you are interested in becoming an individual or corporate sponsor of Education Matters, contact Donna Moore Wesby at 803-507-6793 or email at donnawesby@aol.com.
Thanks for joining us here on WRDW Channel 12. You're watching Education Matters with me, Donna Moore Wesby, where learning is living. Today we're talking about the pathway to college, whether you are in middle school, high school, heck, maybe even elementary school, or if you are an adult with aspirations of going to college, there are quite a few steps that will need to, take place before you get there, but it is doable. Many have done it before you and will continue to do it after you do. We're going to claim your success today. Joining me inside of the broadcast is Mr. Dan Robb. He is Associate Vice Chancellor of Enrollment Management. I think I got that right.
You did. Perfect.
At the University of South Carolina in Aiken, and he is giving us some tips. Now, I want to let you know, I know many of you are rushing out to celebrate Resurrection Day, and you might miss part of the broadcast today. I want you to know Mr. Robb's presentation is placed on the Education Matters website. Just go to that website that we gave you earlier, edmat.com. Thanks, Lauren. edmatt.com, and you can click. It'll be one of the first articles there to help you out, okay? Mr. Dan, before we paid some bills, as they say, you were giving us some information on what colleges look for.
So we talked about test scores, we talked about high school grades, we talked about recommendations. The two last things I would bring up are written essays. Some colleges will require a written essay. Very important that students take that seriously. One, of course, do it themselves, but also answer the college's question. Don't try to use something you've used previously. Different colleges will ask different questions, and they want you to address that. Some will be a social issue, some will be a little bit more about yourself. That's a good time, with all appropriateness, to pour yourself into the essay. They're trying to get to know you a little bit better as a candidate.
That's right. Separate, have some distinguishing factor between you and other students.
Exactly. Same thing with the letters of recommendation and the essay. This is a great opportunity to distinguish yourself, particularly in highly competitive admissions processes.
Right, right.
The final thing I would share about that is something that we call holistic review. And it's very important because you want a college who's going to look not just at your grades, your scores, and make a computerized decision. As Unfortunately, still some do.
Not at USC Aiken, though.
Never. One of the things we actually,
Good
since
answer.
you prompted me, one of the things we pride ourselves on is that each and every application gets read by a human being at USC Aiken.
Wonderful.
And that's important. If you're, a perfect 4-point something with a perfect SAT score, maybe you don't need us to read your application. But for the vast majority of us who are not perfect, and I would suggest maybe everyone fits in that category, you want a school who's going to spend some time on your application and read. So if you didn't quite hit the mark in a certain course, or your SAT was maybe good but not as great as you hoped, don't you want the school that's going to read everything that you've provided? And I think you, as a student, you want to look for schools that talk about something called holistic review. And what that means is they consider many things, not just a number. I always tell the admissions staff, if this were just about numbers, I could replace you all with computers and save money. But what admissions is about is professional judgment and looking at all the things that go across the spectrum of being considered for admission.
And that's priceless. We could end up losing someone very instrumental or valuable in our community one day by not doing that. So I love that USC Aiken does that. I want to say, regarding the writing, there are many students who don't like English class or language arts and wonder how this stuff is going to help me one day. If you have the dreams or the lofty ideas about going to college, look, you heard it from Mr. Dan, you're going to have to know how to write. You're going to have to know how to convey who you are in writing. So don't take those classes for granted.
If you don't mind me piggybacking on that, I think one great example of that is we're just starting this fall a brand new Bachelor of Science in Engineering program at the university, which we're very excited about, of course. But one thing that makes that engineering program special and perhaps different than most is it was built in consultation with regional leaders in engineering. And what did they say they really wanted? It wasn't engineering coursework. It was students who could major in engineering, who could communicate orally and in writing.
That's right.
So going back to why is this important, and some people shy away from a science or go to science or math because they don't think they have to write. Now, employers want everyone to be able to stand up, give a presentation, and communicate and be convincing in their speech and in their writing. So I would just really echo what you said about the importance.
And a great segue to keep us in the flow of the pathway to college is understanding how the courses one takes in high school is a direct connection to the acceptance into some of the colleges, because they have certain requirements.
Absolutely, and you want to know what those requirements are, and they vary a little bit, but not much across the states. So for instance, in our region, you really want to have 4 units of English. You want to have 4 units of math. You want to have at least 3 units of laboratory science. 2 units for foreign language, which is very important.
Foreign language.
3 units of social studies, history, and then some academic electives. The thing you want to be careful about is to stick to kind of that college prep plan of courses. Sometimes you may take some vocational courses or other tech courses that are a little bit outside of that region, and you end up getting a little bit of a surprise in the admissions process that they will not really feel that those are considered as part of a collegiate admissions process. So while your high school may allow those appropriately as part of the high school diploma, they will not meet, for instance, in South Carolina, there are very specific numbers of courses in each of these areas that I tried to outline quickly. You want to be careful about straying off of that. Because you don't want to get knocked out of the box on something that you could have easily achieved when you were in your high school.
That's correct.
So we post this on our website, and I encourage everyone, take a look at all the requirements, make sure that you meet all of them, and that if you take extra courses that they're going to be considered as valid by the college.
Very good. Excellent advice. You got lots more to cover with us today.
Yes, ma'am. So we didn't talk so much yet about college academics, but what's the type of things you might look for in college academics? So we talked about challenging yourself in high school, challenge yourself in college. Ask about honors programs, very important. These programs will take students, have them do additional work, have them do research with faculty, have them really go beyond the regular curriculum in order to really prepare themselves either for graduate school or to really separate themselves again, this time in the job market when they graduate. So always ask what honors programs are available, what research opportunities are there out there.
I want to, if I could, Mr. Dan, because I want to make sure that we don't lose any of our viewers today. The whole point behind having this discussion about the pathway to college is there are many people who have goals and aspirations of certain careers or what you want out of life, what you would like to attain out of life. And for the vast majority of that, it requires funds. It requires money. And one way to help you attain those kinds of things you want out of life is to position yourselves in a career that will afford you those kinds of opportunities. And as we were saying earlier, that statistics prove that you can earn $1 million plus more by going to college than you would if you just stayed at a high school diploma. We're not even going to talk about dropping out. That's a whole nother broadcast in itself. No, we're talking about your high school diploma and beyond. If I can do it, you can do it, okay? But you know, we got to make sure we put these plans into place, and you can earn a really good living at a 2-year technical college where you have a skill, whether it's cosmetology or construction, or, I mean, it's just a wide array of fields. And then there are those who want to go on to get that 4-year degree and beyond.
It's about, as we talked earlier, finding your niche. There are wonderful jobs to be had. What we know is some college is better than high school. 4-year degree is better than some college, right? So challenge yourself, but there are excellent careers as a result of a 2-year degree.
Right.
So it's about finding, kind of your place and what you hope to do.
Yes, connecting to your purpose.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Some of the other things you want to think about is, are there special courses for freshmen?
Good
so
point.
you get there,
good point.
What happens? And is there academic assistance when you get there? Inevitably, we say, when we talk to pre-college students, we say, college is different than high school. And you kind of see the, yeah, I know. It's always shocking. I will reveal something unfortunate about myself. I went to college, I thought I was,
the man.
The man. I thought I was so smart. And then you go to a college where everyone else is smart too. And I remember my first midterm, I was failing all of my courses. I wasn't so smart anymore. And the mistake I made, well, 2 things. I didn't exert myself, which I have encouraged everyone to do. I also didn't ask for help. And that's the other thing. Challenging yourself is one thing, but all colleges offer some kind of academic success center, tutoring, math labs, writing labs to help students improve those skills.
And you know what else, Mr. Dan, and a lot of high school students need to open their eyes to this, is you can do very well in high school and not study. If you're good at memorizing facts and data, or doing your homework in some cases, many high school students have done quite well. But it's a totally different world when you go to college and you're given a syllabus that says these are the expectations that we have of you for the entire semester. There's nobody there to say, okay, don't forget, we're going to have this quiz or we're going to have this test. No, it's on you. And then having 20, 30 pages to read a night in one subject, it's a totally different world.
No matter how well you think you're prepared, there's always a teacher that's going to challenge you and surprise you. I should wrap up that I got 4 B's my first semester, but there was a midterm shock, and I want to avoid that.
Associate Vice Chancellor, we got to clear that up.
But even he had a shock when he went to college because. Not that it was so hard, but you hit the nail on the head. You just have to prepare differently. You have to keep up. There's really no more, oh, I can do this, or I'll think about it the night before. You just have to be prepared and always ask for help. One of the great things I think all colleges do, and perhaps small colleges do a little bit better, is offer that out of the classroom tutoring, academic support, first-year seminars,
Right.
All the writing assistance. That's important.
And also, especially for those adults who have not been to school in a while and you want to go to college, many of the colleges, 4-year and 2-year, will offer,
Yes.
I don't want to use the word remedial, but remedial type courses at the very beginning to help you get ready for that transition. So,
Yes.
you know, don't let that be an excuse for you.
Yeah, many of the colleges will do placement testing as well.
Placement, there you go.
So in math, sometimes in writing or reading or foreign language, so that everyone doesn't go to the same place at the same time. You and I may be at different levels of math, and we should jump into college at the right level, because again, as you said earlier, we don't want to set anyone up for failure.
Right,
we want to set
right.
everyone up for success. And if you need to start at a math level a little bit lower than the person next to you, that's not a problem. You'll get there in your time.
Yes, I like that. I like that, Mr. Dan. Continue.
Talk about tutoring, very important. Every college mostly will offer that, only upon request. So colleges are not going to come to you and say, oh, do you need help? You know, that's another difference, I think, between high school and life,
Right.
where you're a little bit, you know, kind of more self-guided. You need to be really motivated and seek the support before there's a problem.
Right.
And as part of the college search process, you want to ask about those things.
Right.
You know, if you go to a college and they say, well, we only admit the highest quality students, so we expect when they come here that they're going to just be prepared to go. That's a big red flag for me, because you can't make that sweeping generalization across the student population.
Right.
So you want to ask, what academic support is there? What tutoring is there? What types of courses should I expect? If I run into trouble, do you have services for me? I think that's important, but always ask.
I took a group just this past weekend to the Black College Expo in Atlanta, Georgia, along with the Barna Group, and took about 150 students. And several of them had never experienced anything like that before. Colleges from all across the country were set up, all trying to recruit students to their college. And what I explained to the young people, and I want to share with you today, what can help you decide between the different colleges is, what is it that you want to do? If you want to major in nursing, for example, if you want to become a nurse, then as you are looking at the different colleges, find out, do they offer that field of study that you're interested in pursuing? If they don't, then in a lot of cases that can help you rule that college out right there. So there'll be a few questions you need to ask yourself and what you are looking for in a college. You know, for some people, athletics and extracurricular activities are important, clubs and organizations. The distance from home in case of emergencies. So think about your individual circumstance, because I guarantee you there's a college out there that can accommodate you.
Absolutely. Remember earlier we talked about that fit.
Yes.
Right? So let's continue to use history, because almost every college offers a history major. So how do you choose between the history at College A and the history at University B? It's fit. It is. Do they have on-campus housing if I want to live away? What is it like? Do they have fraternities and sororities if that's something I'm interested in? Do they have athletic programs, as you talked about? What's the overall cost? Not the cost that they print, but what can I expect to pay? And then finally, you know, does the university bear any rankings or ratings that would make me feel comfortable? You know, we at USC Aiken like to brag on the one.
And we should.
So I will. You know, U.S. News and World Report, which is arguably kind of the largest and most reputable ranking agency, ranked USC Aiken #1 public college in the South this year for 2015. And that's among 600 colleges from Virginia to Texas. That deserves a bell.
Yes, it does.
That deserves a bell. And that's one. There are many colleges and universities that are ranked. And that's not how you should choose a school, but I think I always tell people, I get paid to tell you how great my school is. U.S. News doesn't. So when they say you're #1, and in fairness, we should say USC Aiken has been #1 10 times, when they say you're good, that's a pretty good sign that you should give us another look or give whatever college you're looking at another look.
Yeah.
So you want to have the combination of your feelings, your thoughts, your level of comfort with some external validation, and who are your other influencers? Are your parents, people in your church, people on your team, people in your community, other people you trust, and you kind of put all of that together, and that's when you get to the point of kind of gelling up a decision.
Right, right.
But up to this point, it's all about gathering information.
Yes.
Right? So you have everything you need. Going back to the story, if you come and you say, you know what, I don't like it here, that's okay. You had enough to make that decision at that point.
That's a good point.
So at points, people say, I can't afford that school, they come off the list. If you really believe that, I would suggest that's not a good starting point because there's always money out there. But if for any reason you say, you know what, this is just too much for me, they're off the list. Okay, now I only have 7 left.
Right.
I really want to live on campus? Oh, they don't have on-campus housing. Well, that probably says I can take that off the list. I really want to play Division II sports.
Right.
Oh, they don't have competitive sports, it's only intramurals? They're off my list. So you can see kind of eventually you take some off, some of the colleges take you off, and all of a sudden you're down to a manageable number. Probably you want to end up with 2 or 3 or 4 where you're sitting there saying, okay, now I have my top choices, I can think about all those things that are important, and I can make my decision.
Very good. And the reality is, not only do we want you to go to college, we want you to stay. We want you to graduate and earn the degree where you have made that investment. And so the information that Mr. Dan Robb has shared with us today, it's all to help you get prepared, but also to not just get there, but to stay. The more prepared you are, the better understanding you have about the college experience, then chances are you will have a more positive experience and you will get that degree at the end of those 4 or 5 or 6 years or whatever it's called, and you will have achieved a very huge milestone in your life. Well, he's going to come back and close us out. Today's segment, we want to let you know again, the slides will be on edmat.com. Thanks so much for watching. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Minds can achieve anything. We make sure they get to college. Federal student aid provides more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds to make college possible for anyone with the mind to get there. Because if given the chance, minds will do great things. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
Welcome back inside of the broadcast. Closing out our segment today has been an awesome guest so far on the broadcast, Mr. Dan Robb, who represents USC Aiken, and he's here talking about enrollment, but the pathway to college, and we sure hope you've been able to get some good information. All of his slides, although we didn't touch all of them today, will be on the Education Matters website. Just check it out, edmat.com, edmatt.com. Well, we just saw the commercial there about federal student aid, because monies are available to go to college.
Monies are available, and as I said, both private and public money goes unclaimed every year. If we had to narrow it down to one step, the one step is to file something called the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid.
Yes.
I don't want to mess that up. That would be egregious error.
There we go, Bill. You get the hang of it, Mr. Dan.
I got it. The FAFSA is your ticket to any federal aid, so things like Pell Grants, college work study, student loans. That's how every accredited college in America bases their federal aid, financial aid packages off that FAFSA form.
Right.
So very, very important. It becomes available January 1st of every year. Make sure you file it. That is, if I had to just give one piece of advice, that opens up, that one little form opens up massive amounts of doors.
That's right, that's right.
Privately as well, the FAFSA will open up some doors. And then additionally, you want to go and look for private scholarships as well. Sounds like I just said, go and look. There are great resources, because I don't want anyone, I've heard, oh, it seems so intimidating. Let's take the mystique out of that right now. Go to USC Aiken Financial Aid website. You will see something that says outside scholarships. Those are not just for USC Aiken students, those are for anyone. It has a great database of various programs. So you could check, I want to be an engineer, I'm a young woman, I live in Aiken County, and the engine will come up and say, these are scholarships available to women who want to study engineering in Aiken County.
Very good. The last slide I want you to go to, because I know some people will be rushing off, and that is the website address for USC Aiken.
Thank you so much. So the website for USC Aiken is www.usca.edu. That will link you to everything else we've talked about. That will allow students to apply, visit campus, and also request more information should they want.
Very good. Well, I really appreciate you. You did a wonderful job. We're certainly going to have you back. Today we've been talking about the pathway to college. It is a viable option for you. If you are in middle school or high school, it's not too early to start planning. As a matter of fact, the sooner you plan, the better experience you'll have. Those of you who are adults, if you have wanted to go to college and life happened to you and you haven't been able to go, you can do it. You can do it with resources like what's available at USC Aiken and on the internet, foundations. There is no reason why anyone who has the desire to go to college cannot go, okay? I know I still have a little bit of time, but there's something special I want to do. And yes, I do. Mr. Dan, on last week, I found out, and I did not know ahead of time, that my director, Lauren, it was her birthday on last week. So we want to say, Lauren, to you, I've got a little goodies for you. The flowers are also for you. And I just thank you for all that you do to help me out. Sometimes I don't get information to you till the very last minute, and that's just because my life is so full. But you and John have been really understanding and working with me. I don't know what the future holds for Education Matters. It just keeps getting better every day. But what I do know is that you have certainly helped, the two of you, and so many here at Channel 12 to make this a possibility and a dream come true. So again, thank you so much. You've been an awesome guest.
Thank you.
All right. Happy Resurrection Day to you. Happy Easter. Thanks so much for joining us. And until next week, you be blessed. My name is Donna Moore Wesby, your host of Education Matters, where learning is living. Bye.